Today, I'm sitting across from Don Cannon. But let me tell y'all what Don Cannon means to me. He is a big brother, a mentor, and a guider. And he's he's funnier than y'all think he is. I'm here with my brother Don Cannon, man. Welcome home.
Man, shit, this is my home now.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
The couch is the grandma. Where grandma at?
Right. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, I wanted to kick it with you. I wanted to talk with you because I've known you for a long time. But I've known you for a long time, but I feel like I really don't know you. So I wanted to take some time to get a chance to really kick it with you and talk to you about like just your upbringing, Philadelphia, 80s and 90s.
Come on, if you shoot out the questions, I'm gonna answer them.
No, it's just conversation though. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the 80s and 90s? See, for myself, I was born in 82. People always tell me like, or they ask me, yo, what was Harlem like in 88? And I'd be like, bro, in 88, I was like 4. I was in kindergarten. So I can't tell you what it was like at that time. Mm-hmm. But being in Philly, growing up, how was it, you know, in those 80s and the early 90s?
So, I mean, as you explained it in kindergarten, I remember things from kindergarten. So, you know, 80s, I was born in 1979, right? Mm-hmm. By 85, I already had my first piece of vinyl. I had Raising Hell by Run DMC. Mm. And I had a whole bunch of fake tapes too. That was dub tapes, we used to call them. Had all those. But by 88, Junior Black Mafia was running the city from our perspective in the hood. JBM, right? Mm-hmm. And you will always see people mimic what they were doing. The fur coats, the cars, the Acuras, the gold chains. That was the only thing we knew. We didn't know there was different regions across the world that was doing that. In Detroit, and in New York, and in Jersey, all we knew was Junior Black Mafia. You know what I mean? And playing basketball and seeing that, you know, seeing Will Smith pull up on my block to pick up a shorty and a drop top, you know what I mean? All that was different.
Will Smith pulled up on your block. Wait, yeah. What part of Philly you from?
I'm from West Philly. I live, when they say West Philadelphia, born and raised, I lived probably maybe 6 blocks from Overbrook High School, where he went to high school.
I know about Overbrook Pizza.
The greatest ever.
Not Overbrook Pizza Fire.
It's my favorite. I just actually went there. I just went there recently and was like, y'all know me from 40 years ago? They was like, yeah, we remember you as a kid, bro.
That's crazy.
But they got the Will Smith up there. So, you know, on my block, my next door neighbor, so, you know, the row homes is door to door. Mm. The second door to me was, I forget her name. Her name might have been Keisha, right? I seen Will Smith pull up, and this is when he was a rapper. So he was super popular, but he ain't gotten the TV and all that yet. And he used to pull up. He had the drop top. She used to come outside. They used to go, I guess they used to go out the Belmont Plateau where they was going. But that was the first time I seen like rap in a space. I was like, oh, you really can do this and be something. I was like probably 9 or 10. You know what I'm saying? My second encounter in there was PSK. PSK was Parkside. My aunt lived in Parkside. And when I used to go to her crib, Parkside was across the street. And I remember Parkside used to be, PSK used to be over there. They used to be playing different things, you know what I mean? And I remember that song specifically, like even Gucci Town, you know, those things is like what I remember. You know, some people remember like the Rich Porter days and stuff. You was in Harlem. I remember that specifically, like, oh, this is what was rap was made of. I was looking at things different. Every basketball player that was hooping out there was rapping. Every boxer was rapping. Every rapper was rapping. All the DJs was great. Cash Money, Jazzy Jeff, you had Cosmic Kev, you had so many people out there, and I'm just watching, and this was our hip hop scene. You know what I mean? Yo,
it's crazy because like I have, and we'll get to that later, but like I have of course my relationship with Philly. Very, very close relationship. But I used to hear Bean say, like, when he was coming up, that a lot of people in the street didn't look at rappers as cool. But I like hearing you say that they was mimicking what JBM was doing. Kind of like when I seen the what was those guys' names from Queens, the Supreme Team. Yep. And in the beginning of the documentary, you see them on the stage with the bottles, the money and all that, but you see LL Cool J in the crowd.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like the aesthetic and the lifestyle was the driving force of what people were attracted to.
Yep.
You know what I mean? On that type of stuff.
That's what I was looking at. You know, that's what kind of shaped everything. EST, they had the glasses, the gold chains, all that reminded me of and you know, I might be off with the number, but JBN was so large. They had probably like 100 or I don't know, you know, I'm speaking out of turn with how many people, but seeing them all over the city, it was just something different. And that time when you're 9, 10 years old, you don't know what they're actually doing. You just see the cars, you see the girls, you see these things. And then you just get in a space where like, okay, they captivating the whole city. I didn't know if they was rappers. I was too young to know, you know what I mean? But they had it to a point where now I can accept EST. I can accept, you know, the youngsters. I can accept, you know, Steady B and Cool C.
Right.
They was all looking alike. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is all one crew. All these people is rappers.
So when you were that young, it made you like, when you seeing that, it made you say, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something with music.
Yeah, I think around like 88, 89 is when I caught the music bug. I think it's like around the like Cha Cha Cha, MC Light, the Big Daddy Kane, LL Cool J. I caught a bug for hip hop. It was like when I first got the Raising Hell album, it was like it was music. But the bug is like when you start saying, oh, this is what I'm gonna be when I grow up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's where I was kind of looking at it like, okay, 10 years old, 11 years old, I was just catching that like, I'm gonna be like them, I'm gonna dress like them. You know what I mean? I started off wanting to be a rapper, but then I realized I was like, I like doing the things that rappers don't do. Making beats. I was DJing for them. I wanted to control the park. I didn't want to be the rapper that everybody wanted to. I want to just make everybody dance from afar because of what I'm playing. So I just had it in my brain. And I was already DJing at 5, 6 years old. I did my aunt's wedding.
Word?
Yeah, I did. Bro, I was just on some, I only had like 5 records.
Right.
But it was like, you know, it was a family thing. So they would say, oh, let nephew DJ, you know what I'm saying? I'll do this. And then my uncle was DJing in his garage. He was big in Philly. So I was just kind of like studying the whole vibe. But I was like, I need to be the person that's not in the front, the person that's kind of like controlling the crowd. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the bug came in. And I was like, okay, if I play this LL joint at the right time, everybody in the park going to dance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I was on.
You know what's crazy about that? Because when you say the bug, like I never thought of it from that perspective. But like for myself, the first thing I ever wanted to do in music was be a DJ because I went to see the movie Juice with my moms. Mm-hmm. And seeing Q, like Q, to me, that character was just so cool. We wanted him to be alive by the end of the movie. You know what I mean? And seeing Q, that's when I wanted to DJ. But I didn't know nothing. I didn't live around a place where I could actually see it. So like my first DJing was, I had like, of course we all had those little boom boxes and stereo systems with the vinyl on top. Mm-hmm. But I used to record like from like Hot 97 or something. Not Hot 97, because it was Kiss FM at that time. Mm-hmm. Wendy Williams was like the main person on Kiss FM that was rap. And recording, like my effects would be me turning up and down the volume. You know what I mean? So like, how did you get a chance to test your skills? You said you only had about 5 records, but how did you get to hone that skill set?
I think what happened was I learned by nature. Nobody taught me anything. So the first thing we used to do was make pause tapes. So basically I was making beats. Basically what you would do is you would find a loop or something that you like and you would record 20 seconds of it, press pause real quick, rewind it, and try to catch it at the same time. And I would wind up splicing tapes and doing certain things. And that's how I was making my DJ tapes. I would play something and then mix it with the song right at the point. And I think that once I started doing those and just giving them to people, they was like, you actually good. But I was young. I was 10.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I was 11 years old. And when people always ask me like, damn, you put it in the perspective of the bug, like how does that concept even hit your brain? I'm like, you know, when you first meet that first female or that young girl that you look at when you're young, you feel this butterfly. She's like, oh, yo, she's so crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then I kind of translated it to music because that's the same thing I heard with like, you know, you get chills as a kid from a song. You don't know where it's coming from. You like, why am I sick? Like, what's going on? Mm-hmm. It's actually the song. So when I was doing that and putting all those songs on those tapes like that, my cousins and my older cousins, they in high school, they like, how did he know to put, I'm that type of guy with, you know, I put in work, you know what I'm saying, Kumo D, or like, they like, and then that's how I was battle tested from the jump as a kid. And that's where it was like, okay, he's making everybody's mixtapes just to get people, you know. Right.
Yeah. Was it something that like, because for myself, I didn't know like myself, my personal experience with music. I remember hearing Pharrell say he sees music in color. Mm-hmm. But like that's how I was with music till this day. Certain songs I could see a color in my head. Was it something that helped you sequence?
No, because from his point of view, he's a musician and an alien. From my perspective, I'm a technician. So I really did the work more than I seen stuff. I was never the person that could wake up like, I got a rap in my head, I'm gonna do this. I never did that. It was like I put in work to build a structure for myself based on the love that I had for it.
Right.
And then my mom was like, well, you always had like drums and stuff in there. So it was in you. It was like you're a prodigy, but I still don't see color. I still don't have these bright ideas. When I go to the studio, it's always in the DJ Premier type of space. I always hear him speaking. He's like, yo, I make sure I give this person the right beat for their voice. I make sure this is this and this, that, and the third. It's really never, I consider myself a hustler that got into it. You know what I'm saying? But I was too young to hustle. It's just that mind frame of, I just know, like he's special. There's a lot of people that see color and can picture something like Stevie Wonder and draw from a landscape. Right. I can't do that. I just go in and create. It's more science. Yeah, I grow in and create and like, oh, that goes with that. That goes with that. And after a while, you become that person that's like, oh, I'm building. I'm an architect. So
like even because you brought up your mom, and I wanted to talk about your mom because I heard that you and your mom is extremely close.
Yo.
And I think all of us young men, like that's our first love. You know what I mean, seeing our moms,
1,000%.
Especially when you got a moms that's pouring into you. Talk to me about how your moms helped you when you was growing up, because you are growing up in Philly, and let's just be 100. Like JBM, that's what State Property was based on. Mm-hmm. So I know it was like whatever we seen in the movie was intense.
Yep.
And for you to kind of like navigate around that, because even though you were young, there are young people that was trying to get into that life. You know what I'm saying? But you had a little bit more purpose. Talk to me about how your mom played a role in your upbringing and kind of steering you away from the BS.
I didn't have a life different from anybody else in the hood. A lot of people say they're hood, but they're not hood. Like you have to come from a certain place. And then when you share those stories with other people and they be like, I can relate, I did the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I had my father, he died when I was 11. Mm-hmm. That's not a story that's not true to everybody. Everybody got that story. I also got the story of moms wanted me to go to college because nobody else in the family went to college. I got that story. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for her to even acknowledge the fact that I was doing music. I was her only son. She wanted me to do it because she wanted me to stay happy and stay in the house. Growing up in Philly, it was like, yo, you go outside, you might catch a stray at 11, at 19, at 40, at 50, at 60 years old. It's just a rough city. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm I'm going outside to play. We playing basketball. We in a park, and my dad and everybody's letting us be the boys we are. That comes with a shootout might happen and your kid might get hurt, but they praying that it don't happen. You know what I mean? And I think that my mom was in the space where it's like, as long as I can keep him in the house and dedicated to this, I'll make sure I'll do work 3-4 jobs to get him a turntable, a record. On our Saturdays, she always going to Tower and Strawberry so we could get tapes and stuff because she wanted to keep her eye on me so I didn't succumb to all the stuff out there. All my cousins did. My cousins died. Mm-hmm. I grew up, I don't have too many family members because everybody wound up dying. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a story that nobody else don't have. Yeah. There's nothing special about it. But I just remember those days where I was in the corner store and I left 2 seconds, they ran in and shot everybody in there. You know what I'm saying? Killed everybody in there. And I had just left as a kid. I was 11. And she hears those things. She's like, how can I keep him in the house? Whatever I can keep him in the house with, that's what I want to do. And that's where her support came from. You know what I mean?
Yo, Ken, it's crazy that you say that because seeing, like I said, like I'm getting to know my brother more.
Yeah.
Hearing that story, I'm my mom's only son as well. You know what I mean? My mom had my sister when she was when I was 10, excuse me. My mom had my sister when I was 10. And I remember there used to be, like, music wasn't my first thing, it was video games. Today you could make a career out of it. But video games brought me so much trouble because my mom couldn't figure out how I could master 4 or 5 games and all the different controls, but I didn't know pies and radiuses, right? I could not understand it. I remember, like, my mom used to tell me about this place, right? Well, it was this game room. Remember, we come from the arcade era.
Yep.
So it was this arcade up on White Plains Road up in the Bronx where I was born and raised. And I remember one day I came home from school, and today, bro, being a dad, I can't imagine not knowing where my kid is at for 3-4 hours.
Facts.
But after school, bro, I'm in this arcade, and all these dudes is betting money on me because I'm nice in Street Fighter 2. And I remember my mom's telling me, like, we also come from the Dare era, you know what I mean? When with grown men was literally trying to sell crack to little kids, you know what I'm saying? And I remember my mom's telling me, I don't want you in there without me. And I remember she like, they sell drugs in there. At that age, like how you saying, you didn't even understand what was really going on. So I kind of understood what drugs was, but not really, because I didn't have no addicts directly in front of my face and my family. And I remember I'm on a game, and I'm on a streak, and I just feel somebody grab me. You know what I mean? To pull me out the spot. And what you said, it just took me back to those memories, because like I grew up in a neighborhood that was kind of like, I lived in between a block, but it was sandwiched. Where I lived was nice. It was cool. My block was cool. But 2 blocks up this way and 2 blocks up this way was chaos. And I didn't understand that until I got older. So it's like hearing your story about Philly, man, it's taking me.
Yeah, I mean, it was rough because, later around 13 years old, one of my coaches, my basketball coach that was, around me 24/7, just molding me into the man that I became today. He was taking me to other neighborhoods. That was the first time I ever saw, I was down 8th and Washington and in South Philly seeing the mob. Like, I'm connecting Goodfellas now to the mob. So now I'm seeing the so-called people that they said was out there, like on the blocks and sitting on the corner, just like you see it in the movie,
right.
How they walk up and spray shit, but they be on the corner, and you see these bars and you see the treatment. So I'm like, oh, that's what that is. That's real life. Okay. So then he would take me to, South Philly to play basketball. And he was like, yo, stay out here all day. And they used to bang you up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Elbow you, like you come home with scars and everything. My mom was like, what happened to you? It was like playing basketball. I got a black eye.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? So I got to learn all those pieces. I got to learn different neighborhoods. North Philly, I had to go over there and play ball. 14, I was a lifeguard, and we had to go clean out the pools in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And when we clean out the pools in the hood, you'll see crack valves on the street. You know what I'm saying? You'll see different type of kids, how they act in different neighborhoods. North Philly don't like South Philly. West Philly don't like North Philly. Uptown don't like.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you in a space like, okay, I'm getting all this energy. And that's what Philly basically was. Like, it's, anybody say, I love Philly, it's a good city. I feel you. But at the same time, it was the first city when I came to Atlanta that I recognized that people speak here. You know what I'm saying? When I'm here, people like, what's up? In Philly, it's like, what you mean, what's up, bro?
You know what's so crazy you saying that, bro? All right, so when I moved down here in 2021. I used to take my daughter to the corner to get on the bus. And it's like 6:30 in the morning for her to go to school. And people, they going to work, you know what I'm saying? And they're driving and they waving. And at the time, I think when I moved down here, my daughter might have been like 7 or 8. And people were waving. She was like, Dad, why they say hi? Because Philly and New York, we got a love-hate relationship because we're so close but so far as like culture. I feel like a lot of the same things that exist in New York, how it's segregated by space, by like, for me, I grew up in the Bronx and then I moved to Harlem. Harlem is East Side, West Side. Then you got like downtown, the East Side doesn't have an uptown, but you got downtown West Side and uptown West Side. Then you got like, it stops at a certain point on the West Side going uptown, but then uptown, you got all the way uptown. Yep. And these things segregated so much, you know what I'm saying? And saying good morning just in New York, because culturally where we from, when somebody's nice to you, they try and get over on you. Mm-hmm. They're trying to do something to you. It's like when somebody's too nice, they trying to take advantage of you. And it wasn't for real until I started spending summers. My family's from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Spending summers down there, I'd be like, why they speak? Like, but that's just how they are culturally.
Yep. Yeah. It's the Bible Belt. Like when you get below the Bible Belt, it's like, Atlanta it was more of a genuine person. Like I go to 559, I go to these clubs. And the first thing they did when I was there, they called everybody from DC up New York. Yeah. Hey, New York. And I was like, bro, I'm from Philly. I'm not from New York. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different barrier than what you got up in Philly. Like even Philly and New York, like I used to play AAU and go up to New York. the way the interaction was, like in Philly, we knew immediately if some say, ooh, let me holler at you, it's over.
Yeah.
They trying to rob you.
Yeah.
In New York, it was painted a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They just rob you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so then in Atlanta, like you'll go 4 or 5, make 4 or 5 plays with somebody, 6 plays, and then you turn up and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You jammed up and it's like, damn, I ain't see this coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like in Philly, we was stuck in a mode of, I don't like nobody. Like when I first took, my wife did, right? We took her to South Street and Dr. Denham. We walked in and she from the South. She like, they're not gonna help me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, no, you gotta go tell them what you want.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna go in the back and get the joints. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But she like, we walk in the store, they don't say, hey, welcome to Dr. Denham. How may I help you? Blah, blah, blah. They just like sitting there. And then you gotta go, let me get these in a 7. And they go, they ain't said a word to you.
Right.
They bring the 7 to the counter, you buy the 7.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So the 90s was like that, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Now, your journey in DJing, we went through you playing basketball, all that, but eventually you go to college.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go to college, you hit CAU,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now you in Atlanta. How was that? I mean, AAU takes you almost everywhere, but now you're dependent upon where you're living at. Like you got to go jump right into the middle of the ocean and swim your way to shore, right?
Yep.
Now you're in Atlanta. How was that experience you first getting there?
My immediate thought process was to make money. You know what I mean? All through anybody you asked me coming up to fact check this, from 10, 11 years old to about 18, all I did was hustle. And I would cut grass, water plants, clean cribs, clean cars, shovel snow. And I would just, my mom she would always tell this story about me taking all the money and coming in every day, throwing the money on my floor in the bedroom, go back out and hustle.
Wow.
But I always wanted to have money. I never wanted to ask nobody for nothing. So I just wanted to have money. She'd be like, where you getting this pile of money? I'm going to clean Uncle Buster's house. I'm just going to clean this out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's just what I was doing. And when I came to Atlanta, the first thing I was like, oh, they slow. I'm about to go in and just clean up real quick. But it didn't work out like that. You know what I mean? I had to go I went to school. The Olympics was just coming out. I think the Olympics was 96, 97.
So when the bombing happened.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So 96 it happened. And then 97 came to school. So a lot of things were changed. They had the University Homes was a project right next to the college. I was walking through there to go to class. I had to deal with that. Then I had to play basketball with them. And then, you know what I'm saying? Then it was a lot of culture shock and going, but I'm meeting people from different places. And then people coming down like, I'm from Philly. I'm like, nigga, I never saw you in Philly. You know what I'm saying? So they was like, somebody's from Chester, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Somebody, you know, and that's probably Philly to me.
It ain't.
When you're down south or somewhere else, you
Yeah.
say you're from Chester, I'm giving you a pass.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they, you know, when that's happening, you're trying to connect with people in Philly. So the first couple of people that I met that was really from Philly was Drum and Trent and Sense, Trendsetter.
Yeah.
And both of them were actually from Philly. Most of the people I meet, they be like, oh, I'm from Delaware, I'm from this. But I'm like, all right, you from Camden, I give you a pass. But nobody really from Philly. I met a couple people. Jawan was from Philly. You know, a couple of those guys, but I could tell by how they haircut and how they was dressing, like where they was from. But I think that was how I adapted to Atlanta at first. Get your Philly crew, and then you move around.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? And then once I felt like, you know, Drum and them a little older than me, so they were already off campus. They was already doing stuff. So for the main part, I was dealing with some New York guys from Harlem. And a lot of those guys, we was just rolling. So I was the New York nigga for a minute. You know what I'm saying? But that's how I adapted to Atlanta at first. The first year I got here, that's how I adapted to Atlanta.
So you meet Drum. All right, see, this is where we get into the,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you meet Drum. What is that first DJ Drama and Don Cannon? I'm just thinking about like the biopic. Like what's the scene, bro? Like
so he went to school with this kid named Jabari. Jabari and I was neighborhood friends. He from West Philly, I'm from West Philly. We went to the prom together, all that. He had his girl there in prom, I went with my girl prom, and he was like, yo, you going to Atlanta? I'm going to Atlanta, but who you got to link up with when you go down there is DJ Drama. He already popping. He was already here with the Roots and Bahamadia and all that. That's the person you got to link up with because you fired and he fired. Y'all got to connect. So I'm like, all right. So when I get to school, I already had Jabari down there, but he ain't ever introduced me. He's like, I don't really, you know what I'm saying, whatever. I don't know, dude. So the first time I meet him, he on the promenade, and I walk up to him, and I'm like, yo, what's up? My name Cannon. No, I was Brasco at the time. I was like, yo, I'm Brasco.
Brasco?
I'm Brasco. He was like, what's up? But he's Drama at this point. At school, he going crazy. So he's selling mixtapes. He moving around already. he worked, and then Marcos Pita, they had all the stuff. So I'm like, what's up, man? I make beats, this, that, and the third. He's like, yeah, whatever, young boy. That's how he was doing me. Like, yeah, he always hate when I say that. He's like, yeah, whatever. But when I gave him the beats, he like, he took the beats. He called me the next day, like, yo, your beats is crazy. You got to come by the crib. I got Jackson, all these people that he working with at the crib. Fat Beats was open. Talib Kweli was like, he was in pockets.
He was
already.
moving around.
He was already in pockets. He had the soul shit going on. This was Dread Drum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I seen the pictures.
Yeah. So this is Dread Drum. Dread Drum was on some, you know what I mean? No shoes in his crib. No, you know what I'm saying? So when we finally linked up, we was able to I was giving him beats. He was managing me for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just moving around, just giving my beats to everybody. And the scene was that. And then once he found out I was a DJ, he was like, oh, nigga, we gotta, you know what I'm saying? Give me a mixtape. I'm gonna sell it in my pack. You know what I'm saying? And that's how, again, he used to set up on this green trash can on a promenade, and he had a yellow, like a circular yellow radio. And that's how he would get his shit off. He was on some dance hall shit at first. When I first heard him, he was like rocking dance hall shit.
And he had the dread.
Yeah, he had dread. So he was in that mode. Right. Chew stick, you know what I'm saying?
Chew sticks. Oh, my
you know
God,
what I'm saying? He was
right.
in his bag. So that's how I really formed a relationship with him. And then Trendsetter was unique as well, because when I went on prom, I went to IHOP, right? I ran to this dude, Ace McLeod. Ace McLeod was like, young boy, what you doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? What's going on? I'm like, man, I'm about to go down Atlanta. He said, I'm down Atlanta. What you doing down Atlanta? I'm like, shit, I'm going to school. He's like, I'm in school. You know what I'm saying? He's like, I go to Morehouse or whatever, man. We got to link up when you get down there, da-da-da. When I get down there, he introduced me to Sense. You know what I mean? And he was telling me everybody, he already knew Drum. He just ain't go, there.
So this is basically the backstory of Aphilliates.
That's the backstory. And Ace McLeod, he actually came up with the name Aphilliates.
Wow.
That's the craziest thing.
How did that come about?
He just came up with a name. Shit, we was getting managed by a couple people, and all the names just wasn't right, bro. Like they tried to do pH balance. We were like, pH balance, nigga. What the fuck? Right. So then he came with the Aphilliates name, and there was a crew in Philly, but they was rappers. It was called Affiliation. They just ain't spelled the same way we spelled it. But we didn't know till later when they came back. It's like, oh, they got the same name. I was like, nah, we on some, affiliates, you know what I mean? PHA, Atlanta,
with the big A,
PH,
yeah.
Philly, But at that time I was Brasco. I was Donnie Brasco. I never liked my real name. So then Sense used to always run around like, yo, Don Cannon. He was like, that should be your real name. I was like, man, I hate my real name. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I found out Donnie Brasco was a cop. And I was like, yeah, I got to get rid of that. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So that's what happened. I changed my name because I felt like he was a cop. So
yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then we get the Cannon. How do we get the Cannon?
It's my last name.
That's your last name?
Yeah.
I should have known that. But...
yeah. My real name is Donald Cannon.
Donald Cannon. Yep.
I
mean, and then Donald Cannon, you started doing mixtapes.
I was doing mixtapes at 14.
Yeah, you was doing mixtapes at 14, so, but I mean, like, now are we in the 2000s yet?
Yeah, so about 2000, I did my first joint with Drum, and it's called The After Party. So basically, Drum used to do this club called Karma, and it used to be a real small club downtown Atlanta, and there was like a downstairs and upstairs, real hip-hop, you know what I mean? And he used to be like, yo, come to the club with me. I used to always carry his crates, all the gigs. Sometimes I filled in for him, like, sometimes he didn't want to open up. I opened up. I'd do the front room. Like, just being in the presence, like Biddy Barnes was running the club. He'd be like, yo, we don't got nobody DJing in the front room. The front room is packed. I go DJ till they get to the back for Drum. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, I felt like, man, I need to make something that's like for the people that's leaving after the club. Everybody left the club, went to Landmark, and went to these places, but they had no music to listen to. Mm-hmm. So I made this joint. It was called the After Party, and it was hip hop, R&B vocals over hip hop beats. Mm. So I was doing stuff like that, like Put Faith over Shook Ones.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I had one of them joints, and it did real well on Drum's table. So he was like, bro, that's your niche. Just keep doing those joints because you blend better than everybody.
How was of course, me coming from New York, and we not skipping, but we going through a timeline, right? And I remember like my first iterations of like mixtapes. What was the first mixtape I probably bought? It might have been, remember The Best of Biggie, Mr. C?
Yep.
I remember I bought that, but it was like Clue, right? I was buying Clue tapes. I remember like a lot of people's singles. The first time I ever heard Liquid Swords or when the MCs came to live out, it was on a Clue tape, right?
Yep.
How influential was Clue and what he was doing, you know what I mean, in New York as a DJ to y'all at that time?
Clue was very instrumental in, you know, what I was thinking because I was on doo-wop, you know what I mean?
Yeah, doo-wop.
Chubby Chub, doo-wop Live 95.
So that don't lose your thought because doo-wop. I remember doo-wop was doing Bad Boy mixtapes with Diddy.
Yep.
So it was DJ doo-wop. Yeah, I think my first tape I might have ever bought was the DJ doo-wop, but I didn't want to lose that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, my fault.
DJ doo-wop, Clue, Green Lantern, Chubby Chub, Ron C. All those guys I bought on a regular. Every week I bought tapes from them on 11th and Chestnut, 12th and Chestnut, just buying them. And that was my albums in between when albums came out.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I studied that. I always was like, oh, how can I do what they're doing but do better? You know what I mean? When I got to Atlanta, that was kind of the thought process behind it. Like even with, you know, the Cannon drop, that was based off Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know that till a couple weeks ago when we just saw each other. I was like, man, the reason why I even got a drop is because of you.
That's crazy.
Because I wanted to stand out. And, you know, and Clue had to laugh and he had those things. But I never considered his voice the drops.
Right, yeah.
And I just was like, he just hosting tapes or whatever. But that's where it started like transferring over because they instilled in us a different vibe. And then we came to Atlanta and we saw, you know, DJ Jelly and all these guys doing their tape in Big Camp. And we kind of combined the both. Because when I was making tapes at first, they was like, man, you on some New York shit. Get out of here, New York. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, nah, I'm trying to blend the whole thing together. So that's where pretty much the whole...
Did y'all ever do Club SOs?
Yeah, I did SOs. That's where I met Lake.
For real? Yo, so look, SOs, my cousins moved down here in 98. So the first time I ever came down here, I think it was either 99 or 2000. Being down here, we used to go to SOs because that was the only place we could really get in. We was like 17 at that time. But being in Atlanta was the first time I ever seen a whole room of people sing a song word for word.
That's a fact.
I never seen that ever in my life, bro. And it was that the song, You Ain't Gotta Say Too Much. It was that song. I never seen, like, because, you know, in New York, even in Philly, bro, we get dressed and come out to not have a good time.
That's right.
You feel me?
Standing looking at everybody.
Yeah, standing looking at everybody, waiting for something to happen. But down here, it seemed like more unified when it came to the music. It was like the music had moved. Like, Atlanta was the first place where I came to where the music moved the room, essentially. Because, you know, we dancing. You get a shorty, you dancing on the wall with her. You had that vibe. But, like, this was the first place I seen music really move everybody at once.
That same statement made me stay in Atlanta after going home the first couple years for the summertime. That fun right there, I was going back and I felt like when I was going to Philly, it was like I was pressing unpause on a
how you was on the
and then they was like
that bug.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
so then when I left, it seemed like I pressed pause and nothing was going on in Philly. So after a time, I would be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna just stay down here. And I'm going to clubs and DJing in Philly on them summers and everybody like this. You know what I mean? Everybody fresh, got their button ups to the top. Everybody just chilling. Everybody,
Tim's tied up to the
they
top.
looking at their feet. They watching the people stepping on their feet. They just like this. And then I'm coming to Atlanta and people is out their shoes.
Throwing bowls.
So I'm
everything.
like, oh yeah, I need to be down here. I'm getting more of a reaction.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that statement you made right there was the reason I wound up saying, you know, I'm gonna stop going home for the summer.
Yeah, bro. It made me like when I would leave, I used to be like, damn, I want to come back to chill. Like, you know what I mean? I never really, you know, it's crazy. I never pictured myself living down here. Now I do. Yeah. But it's a tape, and I wanted to know about this tape because I didn't hear it, but I seen the cover. Cannon Music presents Don Cannon Throwback Series.
Wow, that's so. You know, I used to call myself the throwback king of pinwheel hats and throwback jerseys. So at that time when people was doing that, I feel like people weren't putting on enough emphasis on that. Like, yo, I am the guy. Like I had custom jerseys early. You know, for a young boy, I had them early. But that tape had a bunch of jerseys on the front, right? Throwback, and it was just like, you know, all exclusive joints on there. At that time, I had my Cannon Music business together. I had a two-way pager. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I had a phone number on there. Yeah. I already had sponsors at that time. FCC was a sponsor. And I was already like, and Kinko's probably gonna come get me for this. I used to go on Kinko's and just like Xerox copy 100. Yep. Cut them real quick and walk out, never pay.
Sycamore was doing, I don't know if Sycamore was doing the same thing, but his joints look like the same joints. You just fold it over.
Yep. So that was the very first one that was like of that style. You know what I'm saying? Just making the paper joints. But that tape was like, you know, I was trying to get my feet wet in Atlanta, like with that tape for sure.
But now y'all here, right? Now y'all here, and now we in like the mid 2000s, right? And you got T.I. coming up. You got Jeezy coming up, Gucci, Youngblood. I used to love the Youngblood.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
fire.
Bone Crusher. You got all
Fire.
these people in the Atlanta scene. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about being from New York, because I told this to Birdman. I said, like, I only wanted to talk to him about I Got That Work. And he asked me, like, yo, how you know about, like, you from New York? How you know about this album? I'm like, yo, y'all sold millions of records. I know that the media might have not been messing with y'all, but when I used to go to parties as a kid, they putting on Get Your Roll On and we're wilding. Because this is my high school years, right? But I wanted to talk about, now the affiliates is a thing, right? And your drama is getting stronger. You're getting stronger. Now y'all are meeting, y'all are working with the Jeezys, the TIs, and all of that. Like, what does that timeline look like?
All right, so I'll start the timeline. We were all working at Drum's crib. So right around 9/11 happened, I wasn't in school. I was faking. I was so good DJing and doing things on campus. I wasn't even on, I wasn't even in school enrolled, but I was staying in the dorm and paying the dorm money. Don't know how I did it, but I did it. So when 9/11 happened, we woke up, everybody running, grabbing their bags and everything. Like, yo, they blowing up the world. Get your shit together, go home. I'm like, what? So, and at this time, I was down here doing stuff. And I didn't even tell my mom I wasn't in school no more. So I was just, I'm waking up. It's all on the TVs. My man, he's stepping over me. I'm sleep. I'm trying to get my stuff. He stepped, yo, I'm out. I'm going back home. They blowing the shit up. I'm like, oh shit, it's going crazy. I look out the door, everybody, they getting ready to go to the plane. I don't know how they get home. So first thing I did was like, damn, I got to tell my mom I ain't in school, bro. What the fuck? So I finally pick up the phone like, yo, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't even been in school this year the whole time. I just staying in the dorm. She's like, well, that shit don't matter now. You gonna come home or you stay down there, but you can't be moving around. It's getting crazy. I said, I'm gonna just stay down here. She's like, all right, bet. I stay down. I still don't have no place to live. By then, dorm is like, oh, we on to you, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Drum was like, yo, you can stay on my couch. You know what I'm saying? So I wound up, him and Sense had a duplex. You go in the house, one door to the right, one door to the left. So I remember just him giving me like a month to get my shit together. I stayed at his crib on the couch, but I would always have to put CDs together, carry crates. Like, I was so broke, he was making food for us. You know what I'm saying? Anybody, he covered everything that was going on for us at that time. Like even since he was like, yo, young boy, come get one of these fucking Stouffer pizzas. You know what I'm saying? I used to go get the pizza. But they both had setups. So I used to go in there and play with Drum setup until he came home, because that was like his ritual. He'll go out all day, hustle, come to the crib and just practice, do shit, try to figure out, certain things. And at that time period, we was at his crib, artists were coming through already. You know what I mean? They was not like, they were on the lower level underground, but it was like it was during the neo soul period. You know what I'm saying? But one of the things we did was he met Jason Jeter just out in the run, and Jason Jeter brought Tip. You know what I mean? And when he brought Tip to the crib, I didn't even believe he was from Atlanta. He was so good. I'm like, oh, this nigga gotta be from Philly or Jersey or something. There's no way he rapping as good. You know what I mean? So he used to come to Drum's crib, and even Drum was like, bro, they lying. He from New York. You know what I'm saying? Because Jeter from Jersey. So we like, bro, it's no way you found this dude. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody in Atlanta was rapping the way he was. Yeah, like the way he was putting words together was just crazy. And then his style, like he ain't even dressed like Atlanta dude. The only thing you'll see his hat was like tilted like that. That's how Jay was rocking his hat. Yeah, so I'm like, bro, I don't even get it. He had the Cartiers on. The only thing they might have gave it away, he was wearing polo boots. You know what I mean? He had the Timbs on. If he had the Timbs on, I'm like, all right, cool. Right. But he was the first of many that was coming to Drum's crib. When he started the Gangsta Grills series, then people started coming through. I remember telling David Banner the other day that he was in his van sleeping, waiting to get a Gangsta Grills. You know what I'm saying? He was out here from Mississippi, just moving around Atlanta, he was hungry. Waited for Drum, got in there. You know what I'm saying? Slim Thug, Little John, Killer Mike, Scrappy. Anybody you could think of was coming to this bull crib. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I started to meet people. That's when I started to give out beat tapes to people. That's when, you know what I'm saying? It started manifesting into something that we had no idea was going to lead us till today. You know what I'm saying? Like, that crib was like, Glen Iris is still there. 532 Glen Iris is still the place. Jeezy came through there. And then once we started getting into a more commercial space, I had an apartment in Buckhead on Cheshire Bridge. And then everybody started coming there. That was the Rap City place. That was the Rap City. Raekwon came through. Yeah. Freeway. Yeah. E Ness was on fire at the time. Corey Guns, Remy Ma, Everybody was coming through there at that time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So then that became the crib where everybody did it. We did Streets is Watching in my crib. We did Trap or Die in my crib.
Wait, because
yeah,
y'all did Streets is Watching and Trap or Die in your crib.
Yep.
Jeezy so here I stand, a grown ass man,
bro.
All by my. That was done in your crib.
Yes, sir. So Jeezy recorded the vocals there, but we did the whole tape in the crib. So he would come to the crib to listen to what we was doing in my apartment.
Wait, so you was post producing it?
No, we put all the songs together.
Oh, you put all the songs together. Okay, okay.
We made it into a mixtape.
And then he heard, so he didn't even know that it was a tape.
No. He knew it. He knew what he wanted.
He knew what he wanted, but Jeezy didn't know that. He just gave you the songs and just let y'all put that joint together.
Yep. And he came through and listened to them. Both of them tapes.
What? All right. So now you're adapting to eras because we done went from the late 80s of you being a kid and being influenced by Philly to you getting out and navigating and learning how the streets work from Philly, which ends up helping you move into Atlanta, how to navigate, right? Then y'all are doing all of this DJing, producing, and now it's growing. It's now looking like, now we really got something here, right? Mm-hmm. What's next? I mean, Trap or Die, I didn't even know. So I started in music around like the beginning of 2002. And it was crazy because when you said Slim Thug, I remember Biggs wanted to sign him to Rockefeller. A lot of people don't know that. And then Pharrell was trying to sign him. It was a bunch of stuff. But y'all making these tapes, and now these tapes, which are becoming lucrative, right? Like y'all making money off these tapes, and now you're working on albums. So take me to when y'all do the Thug Motivation. Well, Jeezy does Thug Motivation, because I remember just now I'm just finding out the story now about when he first heard Go Crazy, and Coach K played it for him, and T.I. had it on. He was just rapping on it on the tape, and then you like, nah, but you could buy it, right? But now you're in the pipeline of doing stuff commercially. Like you said, you had your business together.
Yeah.
Take me through that when you do this record, and is that the record that was the change or the shift for the Aphilliates, which ends up changing into another company later on that we'll talk about?
So first and foremost, Ludacris was already out.
Right.
That was almost unreachable at some point because it was like he was a superstar already.
Off the first album.
You know what I mean? And then so it's like we knew him from radio, we knew him, but it was like, we ain't getting nothing with him. Yeah. He's too far gone. You know what I mean? Then he had Tip. He did Down with the King. And he was rapping so good, I couldn't even see Jeezy coming a mile away with the success he was gonna have, because I was just always in the club. I was always seeing him. He was around BMF. I was DJing all the BMF parties. You know what I'm saying? So at those times I would always see him, but I just never even guessed it. But that was me having to apologize to Coach K for telling us this was the next nigga. And I was like, man, get out of here. You see T.I. right there? You know what I'm saying? You see that boy rapping right there? You know what I'm saying? So that was the first thought process. That led to me giving. Drum actually gave that beat to Tip first when he was managing me as a producer. Tip put on a tape, but he didn't do nothing. It was like the 19th song to the 20th. You know what I'm saying? And the one thing I did was, I want to say it was a Jeezy and BMF party. I don't know. Whatever it was at that time, it was 2004. It was at Riviera. It was on Peachtree. At the end of the club, on the walkout, it's certain things that you could play. Like I would normally go in my bag. This particular party, I don't know what sparked it, but it came over me like, yo, play your T.I. record. This is the first record I had somebody rapped on. It was fire, right?
Yeah.
So I'm playing in the club, but I'm just, the walkout take at least 20, 30 minutes for people to walk out. As soon as they turn the lights on, people still talking. They got
yeah.
So I'm just still playing the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I play it 6, 7 times, 8 times. Next thing you know, you see him come to the booth. He had, squad with him. You're like, what's that? I was like, man, some record Tip rapped on, da-da-da. I was like, but it's for sale. You can have it. You're like, come see me. So, you know what I'm saying? He leave. I wound up going to give him the beat. The fucked up thing about it was when I did the actual beat, it was in my apartment. When I went to go back to rebounce the shit, I lost it. So I actually took some money and went to the front room and patchwork and remade it real quick.
Oh, you remade the beat?
Yeah, I had to.
What elements is there elements that's missing out of it that it's pretty much the same?
Same beat. I knew how to do it. because people don't know this part too, because this is part of the story. When you had machines back then, it wasn't like computers. You do one thing with a computer, it's already ready. The machine, you had to do it over and
you gotta sequence it every time.
So now you already know what it is. So if somebody said remake it right now, I'll remake that shit right now.
It's like a dance routine.
That's what I'm saying. So when I did that, I hurried up and got it together. I gave it to him. He did the song. I didn't hear the song. Coach K played me the song. I was like, yo, this is one. And when I was like, damn, he rap good as T.I. This is good as hell. You know what I'm saying? And one line spoke to me. He was like, with Krispy Kreme, I've been flipping the modes. I was like, oh, he's crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy.
You know what I mean? People laugh at that line, but I'd be like, bro, that means something. You know what I'm saying? That means something to the city of Atlanta. Like, you know what I'm saying? So as I'm moving through, I was like, oh, this is going to be my first real record that's going to come out. I got paid for. And Coach K was like, I got something special for you. He wouldn't tell me what it was. And it wound up being Jay-Z.
That's Coach K, bro.
Yeah,
oh, man, that is Coach K. Coach K is like a Jedi, bro. Like, he will not, he going to wait to peep the whole scenery, then deliver.
And the way he delivered it, it was on time. But the craziest thing was, it was the hip hop quotable. You know what I mean? It was, and it was a culture shock for me because Jay-Z is my favorite rapper. He's on my first record. I thought my career was over. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, Jay-Z's on your first record. I got nothing else to look for.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying? And then when that record came out, I had almost 30 to 40 to 50 rappers already on the record. Anybody I wanted to work with was already on the record.
Yeah, because they was doing the freestyle. It's so crazy so it's how
you know what I mean?
That works. Because having a hip hop quotable is like, bro, like at that time, I'm trying to figure out what you equate that to. That might be a really, really dope on the radar.
It's a hood Grammy.
Yeah, it's a hood Grammy. A lot of facts, that's a hood Grammy. Like the hip hop quotable, that meant everything. Like just having that verse of the month in the Source magazine, which is one of the biggest.
They had production credit, which was a section, and then they had hip hop quotable, and it was right next to each other. All the fire producers was in production credit.
Yep, and all the fire rappers was on.
And when you had that, we went to certain pages. We went to see how many mics the albums got, the production credit, and the hip hop quotable. That's all we looked at.
That's a fact. I mean?
So when I went there and saw that, I was almost scared. I'm like, oh, it might be over for me. I'm not going to be able to top this.
Yeah.
My first record and Jay-Z's best verse. I don't think he had no hip hop quotables in there before. I might be wrong.
He had the verse from DMX. I sleep whole winners, wake up and spit summers. Ghetto nigga off of Blackout. He had that. I don't know if he had more than that, but I remember that one being on there.
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, man, there's no way you're going to top this. You know what I mean? So I was just stuck in that period for a minute, like, how you gonna top that? And then I topped it.
And then, that's a fact. You did that on an MPC?
I did on an ASR.
Yep. Did on an ASR?
So people don't know this. I had a keyboard. And what I used to do was I used to mail my equipment home to Philly every summer when I left school. But I used to put it in a box and not pack it up correctly, and UPS would just throw it all around. And so I had to get something that I could carry on a plane. So I wound up having an ASR, which is the box I could carry on a plane.
Yeah. Man, now we going through a hell of a timeline.
I've never told none of this. People have never asked this deep of a question because he's just like, there's some stuff like, damn, I ain't know all that. You know what I mean?
Well, this is why you at
we
home.
At the crib.
Yeah, we at the crib, man. We at the crib. So now things get a little bit darker. Mm-hmm. You and Drum, y'all are, doing this stuff with this mixtapes, you got you doing the Cannon series with people, y'all are sequencing, y'all are basically A&Ring people's albums for the streets, but a lot of people don't understand that the mixtape was just a promotional use only tool.
Yep.
Right? But now mixtapes are being sold, right? We know that they hit in the streets, they being bootleg, all of that, right? It's a multi-million-dollar in the streets business.
Yep.
And y'all two have taken it to leaps and bounds, and shouts out to Clue because one time I was talking with Clue and I told him that from a fan standpoint, like I felt like he should have took things a little bit further, but I understand Clue is also a signed artist.
That's right.
Right. I mean, so he was making different money. He wasn't really concerned with a lot of different things as far as doing tapes, and that's just from my own perspective. But now these tapes have now led to the IRAA investigating and coming after y'all with the feds. And like I said, y'all I'm pretty sure, me knowing y'all, I know y'all was on a cloud nine. All of these great things is happening. But now we're seeing y'all and it's like, wait, what's going on? The same people who do the certifications that we got all these plaques from are now stepping into the culture to stop something because these labels aren't monetizing it. They're just using a piece of the marketing budget and just putting it out.
Yep.
And then you got the artists that's just like putting their own bread up and putting them out.
Yep.
But take me through that. Where's y'all mindsets when they come to the office and they hit y'all with these charges?
So my perspective was, and this is something I never said before either. I'm gonna give y'all a clean perspective. This is exclusive. When God sets you up in a certain way and you go against it, you pay a penalty. How I felt when we were making money during the mixtape era, we became money hungry and greedy. And it tore some of our relationships up between us three. It was it was only the three of us. That's all we had. And when I'm arguing over money with people and all that, I think that the raid was a part of that instead of us doing something wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why. Many arguments I had with Drum where at that point I didn't want to fuck with Sense or I didn't want to fuck with these. It was all on some money because money was coming in, everybody was seeing a different thing. Everybody thought my ego was high, Drum ego was high, Sense ego was high. And I feel like then and there, God was like, I set y'all up for history. I didn't set y'all up for this. So let me kind of stir this in the right direction. And the right direction happened to have been a bad direction at the time because it was a raid. And we was like, man, we doing music for people. We're not selling drugs. We ain't running around with a bunch of guns. We ain't laundering money. What's going on? So when a raid happened, I remember specifically we in there and we going to the car. They run up on us. Everybody get on the ground. I had some people from North Carolina that was coming to interview me. And we were outside doing the interview. They made them get on the ground. And when I got on the ground, I just know certain people that ain't from that cloth don't understand what certain things is. So when I'm looking at the cameraman and dude that was interviewing me, they crying on the ground. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what's going on. I don't think Sense was there, but it was me and Drum. We was on the ground. I was like, well, they ain't coming for us. There's probably some other stuff going on. They just check in or whatever. But when they showed us papers at an aerial view of them taking pictures of us and stuff, I was just kind of like, oh, this is a real deal. So we went down and we finally found out what was going on. But then we went in front of the judge and he said no bail. Normally that's some serious stuff, you know what I mean? And then you look in the papers and it's saying 20, if we get convicted, we get 20 years. So we don't even know what's going on at this point. We like, bro, all we do is music. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? What's going on? So the whole time we in jail, and I never told this on camera. I had been to jail 2 previous times, unrelated. Just, I had a panty raid in school. Mm-hmm. Somebody got hurt. I got locked up for it. I ran out on a bill during coronation one time from IHOP. We wound up getting locked up for that. So I had already been in the system. So when I went there, I told Drum, look, I know we in this cell right now. They're going to call A through K and then K through Z. If your name is on the list, you go upstairs. So he's like, man, you ain't going upstairs. I said, I'm trying to tell you. I don't know what made him believe that I hadn't been. I said, bro, I've been to jail twice, bro. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he like, man, you tripping, da-da-da. They come to the door, A through K. Take your shoelaces out, blah, blah, blah. I said, yo, I told you. He's like, yo. So he's tripping. I wound up going upstairs. I get my handbook and everything. So I'm tripping. When I get upstairs, they watching it on the TV. They're like, bro, why are you in here, bro? You the savior to music.
With the niggas that's in there.
Yeah, in population.
Yeah.
They up there like, bro. No, I'm talking about the whole entire thing. People was like it was the dude sweeping. He slid some cookies over to me and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, an iced tea that was just a hard rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but the whole time, everybody in there just wanted information. Like, yo, does that rapper, how they did this and how they rapped on that beat? It was the whole time. Until we got released. And when we got released, I was like, bro, I'm petrified of prison. I don't do nothing wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when we get out of there, Drum took the stance as he took the fall for hip hop. I was on some, man, I lost everything. F hip hop right now. I'm about to go disappear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To come to find out that the RIAA didn't have an understanding of what we did. You know what I'm saying? And once they found out we were for the people and really not, it was such a gray area. Certain people couldn't help us because, they used the IRAA to stop that stuff.
Yeah.
So they can't say, yo, no, they my guys. It was just a gray area. Mm-hmm. So once we got to a point of figuring out RIAA, I think it was this one kid, and the one kid that worked at RIAA was telling the main guy, like, no, these guys are legit. They this, third. I never got the kid's name, but he wound up showing the guy everything we were doing. And I think it was a miscommunication of they found somebody's bootleg place, and they thought we were putting album covers on mixtapes and selling them. You know what I'm saying? Which really was on. So when they started listening to them and hearing, like, you know, all these rappers and John Legend and CeeLo talking to us, they're like, wait a minute. They start scratching their head.
The IRAA.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're still protecting. Right. So they can't really say nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But we wound up getting away from it. Drum had the song called Feds Is Watching, which I hated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I hated the song because I'm like, bro, we in the middle of, we fighting for our life right now. Like, you know, we fighting for my life right now. Right. You know what I'm saying? You playing, you know what I'm saying? And he stood tall, and I learned something from that because I was like, man, at that point, like, you know, being a God-fearing person, you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, you know, innocent people get locked up and do things all the time. And at that point, I was just kind of like falling back, like, oh, shit. He's standing forward. He know he ain't do nothing wrong. He believes. He manifesting we get out of this. This is nothing. We got out of it. We fell out for like 3 years. People don't know this. Me and John fell out. Now I'm gonna tell you some crazy shit. It's more exclusive. We fell out because that thing tore us up. He was running with some people I ain't agree with, and they was just on some rah-rah, and I was like, yeah, I ain't on that. You know what I'm saying? For about 4 or 5 of classic tapes, we talking shit about each other on the tapes, and niggas never knew.
What?
Yeah. So Trap or Die 2, the whole tape, I'm talking shit about Drum. But it was a double thing going on. So him and Jeezy was beefing.
Yeah.
So when he did Trap or Die 2, it was like we was on some like, yeah, we about to get it. We gonna show who run the streets. Yeah. Right? For real. Yeah. You know, my ego was in it because Drum at the time, Drum was on the road with Tip. Yeah. And I was doing all the tapes for him. So I'm like, I do them anyway. I'm better than him. You know, your ego feeds you all kinds of crazy. Right. And then when you split, you start seeing the people that take sides. So they all gonna tell you, yo, you shouldn't mess with dude. You shouldn't mess with dude. So, you know, long story short, Trap or Die 2, I'm talking about him the whole tape. Wow. And on his Fab tapes, he talk about me the whole time. One of the lines was, I had some snakes on the plane. That's about me. That's about you? Yeah. So then I had lines like, niggas think we fell off. You horses, you must be talking about the Porsches. You know what I'm saying? We going back and forth. I told Drum had this big mansion at times. Like, yeah, you sitting on the top of that big mansion with no furniture. But I had people going to his crib that was helping him with tapes. Yeah. They told me, yeah, he ain't got no furniture in that bitch. Nah, that's crazy, yo. So we were dissing each other for a long time. Mm-hmm. Till one day, he got in the joint with Jeezy at the club, and some people got hurt. And he wound up calling me like, yo, we got to sit down. Like, you got to pull Jeezy together. We got to have like a meeting of the minds. Like, this shit got to stop, bro. I ain't even about this life. Like, this shit getting way too crazy. Right. We wound up sitting down, but I didn't come to the first sit down. I think they all squashed it without me. I just made it happen. Yeah. It's like, yo, come on, bro. That's bro. Da-da-da-da. I moved to LA. When I come back, I call him from LA. Like, yo, what you up to? Da-da-da. He's like, yo, when you come back to Atlanta, I want to show you something. So I come back to Atlanta. He was like, first we meet up at Jersey Mike's up there on Howell Mill. And when we went to sit down and squash out our joints, we didn't know where to start because we ain't had no beef. We like, what we here for again? We eating sandwiches. And it was just like, we started talking like if nothing. We ain't had to apologize or nothing. We just got right back into our bag. He shows me Mean Streets that he started building. And that's what made me leave from Atlanta to come back to, leave LA. And come back to Atlanta. Right. To help him with Mean Streets. Wow, yo. Yeah. I never told that story. Wow, ever. Yo. I ain't gonna lie, bro, because I listened to those tapes wholeheartedly, and this is before I had met y'all, and I never knew that. Mm-hmm. And I'm living and dying by these tapes. You know what I mean? To know that y'all was going back and forth, and then y'all brought it all back together. Yeah, like, stop playing with me on Trap or Die. That was a direct shot at Drum. Wow. Stop playing with me. That was like my bag. You know what I'm saying? So that was like, we were going back and forth with it, and did crazy because I would see them out and nothing would happen. So I knew it wasn't. It wasn't that. Yeah, it wasn't like that. Yeah, man. Yeah. Even that whole ordeal, I feel like now we getting towards the blog era time.
And going into that, music business shifts because while mixtapes were this promotional tool, now they become a part of your options, right? And I think that labels started looking at it from a business standpoint, like, yo, why? And then we, of course, I'm kind of jumping past Dat Piff because Dat Piff plays a super large role in that because that's like the first streaming, and then you get the live mixtapes and Spinrilla and all these other platforms. But it kind of started with y'all as to like the lay looking at it and saying, what's this going on? And I feel like because they all do business with each other, there's some sort of conversation where they're like, nah, we got to start putting mixtapes into these album deals. Like when we're signing people, we can't just put out an album. We got to put out mixtapes as well, right? Now we into the blog era. And now y'all have finally come back and y'all are building our mean streets. But something changes, something shifts. There's a momentum. And I feel like the story you've told me, it kind of paints a picture of like destiny. That's what I've been hearing a lot of, right? Like destiny. And y'all starting with each other, having success, Drum being a man, you having placements, Jay-Z, First Drink, going on to do Jeezy tapes, all of that happening, it leads y'all to now, because y'all ditched Aphilliates around this time during the blog era, and y'all start Generation Now. And when I started getting around Drum like right before y'all started Generation Now, because I knew Lake through Young Chris.
Yep.
Right? And but now y'all start this thing and it's like, what are they gonna do? I think everybody was looking at it from the standpoint of, I know for myself, I'm just like, my biggest gift and my curse in music business is that I've been so passionate that I negated business. So I never really looked at a lot of things in the business sense. I just was like, wanted to make something happen.
Yep.
And I just was like, what they about to do? And now y'all have Mean Streets building, but now Mean Streets becomes this hub for all these classic. I mean, I grew up in bassline in my career, but now Mean Streets is like bassline on steroids. Because when we had bassline, it was just Rockefeller, but Mean Streets is not just affiliates to Gen Now. It's everybody. You got Thug and Migo. You got the new Atlanta scene through there. Talk to me about that, please.
First of all, let's start way back when I said me and John was dissing each other.
Right.
I knew that he had the streets on lock. I couldn't do that. People looked at me as a pure talent or somebody that did a little bit of both streets and hip hop. So what I did was I was like, man, I need to start going into an area where people are not getting that attention and starting that. So that was what the blog era was about. You know what I'm saying? Currency, Asheroff, Cool Kids, Don Kennedy, fucking Pac Div, Blue, Wale, Cole, Drake, Nicki. You know what I'm saying? Like the blog era was something special. And for a long time, people used to call me the godfather of that because I had so many mixtapes with all of those artists and I helped them get into another space. And I think that when I couldn't sign those acts, I was like, man, you got to learn the business. You don't know what's going on, bro. Even though we had our dips and dabbles with Aphilliates Music Group and all that with Asylum, I still didn't understand it. And at that time, I was talking to No ID, and No ID was just helping me understand some of that stuff. He was coming off Heartless and all those records.
Yeah.
He was like, yo, look, I got my own studio in LA. If you get out here, you can come work on some stuff. So I came out there. First day I was in there, it was a young kid on the couch, and his name was Big Sean. And he was like, yo, I got this artist. He ain't really doing nothing, this, that, and the third. He's like, I got this other studio by the Beverly Center. If y'all want to go down there and work and come up with something, like, it could be something. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'll work with the little nigga. You know what I'm saying? So we go down there. The whole time he in one room recording, I'm in another room making beats. But we ain't really gel yet. We was cool. He knew I was. He was a fan. I was like, dude can rap. Same thing. And when I was in that room, I was making beats for the next Jeezy mixtape. You know what I'm saying? And the first thing I did was making this beat called Final Hour. When I made the beat, Sean came in there. He was just sitting on the couch like, yo, this shit hard, bro. You making this? Like, who this for? And I was thinking, like, I wanted to tell him, like, this for Jeezy. Right? I just wound up saying, I made this for Jeezy, bro, but I want you to have it. He's like, for real? I wound up getting a Final Hour. That led to us making Finally Famous 3.
Wow.
So that was my first business transaction in LA.
Wow.
And starting to go there, he had Common coming through at the time. Rajon Rondo was in there. Serena Williams was in there.
Wow.
People was just coming through the studio. He had it on fire.
And No ID studio.
Yep.
Right.
He had Chris Brown coming through. He just was in that moment because he had made that him and Kanye had did so much in that moment that he was on fire. So once I started staying out there, I was like, oh, I'm gonna move out here for a little bit. I wound up moving out there for a year. And then I didn't understand it. I was like, yo, I'm living out here. I'm missing DJ gigs. They don't want to fly me from Cali back to where I'm at.
Right.
I'm like, yo, what's going on out here? I'm learning. I'm getting placements. I'm making a couple bucks. I'm like, bro, it's just not clicking. I stay out there for another year. I get with Hit Boy. Hit Boy is somebody I met at 17 years old when my wife was in a singing group. She was like, meet this young boy.
Mm-hmm.
I meet him. We kept a relationship all the way till he had his own crib. He was turning into Hit Boy. He's like, yo, you can stay with me, bro. Now you big bro.
Yeah.
Stay with him. So a couple of things I started learning was, bro, you have to sign an artist. Out of all these years we made these tapes, we didn't get nothing out of it but a fee.
And you had everybody coming through your crib, drum crib.
All we had was a fee.
Right.
Sometimes people give us 10 bands or it just be like, help us out. And that was their main marketing thing. So if you get a marketing budget of 300 and you're only paying 10 to get hot, like, bro, they gonna flood us.
Yeah, in fact.
You know what I'm saying? So No ID took the job at Def Jam, and he was hitting me like, yo, Karen Kwok want to have a meeting with you. Yo, we want to bring y'all in. Bring you into Def Jam, to help out the system. I met with them. They wound up hiring me, and I looked at that as college. You know what I'm saying? And when I went to Def Jam. I must like a 2.5-year contract. I went over there. I learned stuff. I brought stuff to the table. They didn't want to sign. I think they had All Gold Trinidad.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I found Rich Homie. I didn't find him, but I went and looked for Rich Homie Quan.
Mm-hmm.
I met him through Ebony.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I want to sign this kid. I never got a chance to do it. Reese LaFleur introduced me to ASAP Rocky.
Reese knew everybody.
Yeah. I tried to talk to ASAP Rocky about it. He's like, yo, I'm about to sign to Brian
Leach, yeah.
He said, but my girl is a free agent and she in Australia. And I wound up calling her and being on the phone with her and trying to get her to come here. That shit didn't work out, but I sent it to Karen Kwok and them in July, I think 2011 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yo, we need to sign this. They didn't bite. So I'm just starting to think about all the stuff. Pat and P brought Migos to Drum to try to do something. And I tried to be like, man, I'll take them to Def Jam.
Yeah.
That ain't happened. You know what I'm saying? So I did. I had multiple things. At that time, too, people don't know that coming off Asher Roth. So I'll break it down just a little bit. Asher Roth was something Scooter brought to me. So me and Scooter used to do parties together in college, and that was just my main man.
You and Scooter Braun used to do
he was the
parties
promoter,
in
I was
college.
the DJ. Yep. He went to Emory. So we did the college parties, but me and him was just tight for years.
Right.
When he found Asher Roth, I was the first person he brought it to. He's like, yo, you know how to do hip hop? This is the guy. He got the studio. He put me in the studio with him. At that time, I was already working with Asher. He was bringing in Justin. And he was like, bro, I got this kid, but I can't let you work with him. You don't know R&B.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that to Usher. He wound up taking that to Usher. Fine. And then by the time that happened, he brought me Mike Posner. And then Mike Posner, he was like, yo, this kid's in Detroit. He goes to school. Come down here and work with him. That was going to be my first artist. I'm working on trying to sign him. Come to find out, he went and wanted to sign with Jeezy. I remember I got a call. He's like, yo, I'm going to sign to Jeezy.
Mike Posner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He went that way. I'll give you another one. Drake came down with T Slack to Atlanta to work with me and move around Atlanta.
Right.
Met with him. He rode around Atlanta. I was in my Jaguar. We rode around and we talked about it and nothing came of it. Came about it. But when he popped off, I was like, man, he deserved it. But at that point, anybody will tell you, Chasing Cash, these guys, like, that's my guy. That, they'll tell you that they met Drake through me. I was running around with Drake. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So that was my guy. You know what I'm saying? Dope kid. I don't think I had my business ready to be able to be ready for Drake. Right. And at that point, I don't think he just trying to get in. He had the Trey song, you know what I'm saying? Successful. So he was comeback season time. Yeah, he was just getting there. He was meeting people. I think Polo was at the studio. He was there, but a lot of he really got a relationship with Chase at that time. Yeah. And I was there, and then we just kept cool. We kept, talking, whatever. But all that had dissolved by the time I got to Def Jam. So I was just trying to figure out, who am I going to sign? Who am I going to work with? And we had this plan between Sycamore, Dion, me, Noah. we were always going to help each other on a project. Usually you'll get 3 artists as an A&R, right?
Mm-hmm.
Me and Noah would help Logic. We would help this artist. We would do Dirk and Reese together.
Right.
Then me and Sycamore would do YG and Dirk and Jeremiah together. And then me and Dion would do 2 artists together. You know what I'm saying? It was always a tag team mission, so we always had enough strength to build these artists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was never like, no, it's all on me. It was more like, yo, Sick would be like, yo, I gotta go with Jeremiah. So, all right, cool, I'll go with Dirk. And then we'll swap, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And do different things. And, you know, as we were moving. So I learned all that stuff. And then once I got in Def Jam, we lifted up the hood and like, oh, it's nitrogen in that joint. Oh, okay, that's how they do that?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm about to do this. I'm gonna leave and find an artist. And that's what fueled, 2 things fueled it. I started DJing. I was signed to Sujit, which had all the DJs.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to these different places. I went to Atlantic City. On my way to Atlantic City, I hear Uzi on the radio. I don't know who it is. Diamond Cut's just playing it like, it's this young boy from North Philly. He's dope. I said, I'm going to come back and meet him. He's fired.
Yeah.
I come back to Philly. I meet him. He act like he don't know what's going on. This, that, and the third. He wound up calling me later like, man, I know who you are and all that, bro. All that's cool and all. You gonna sign me or what? And that's how the relationship started.
Wow.
But that's where it came off of Def Jam not being able to do certain things and me going into a whole new world.
And you being able to have the power to make the decision as opposed to selling the vision. And they like, I don't know.
I just felt like I did so much to do that and they didn't pick up nothing that was bringing. ASAP became a star.
Yeah.
Iggy, star.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Rich Homie Quan, star.
Yeah.
So it was just like, damn, what am I gonna do? I mean, Dirk became a star.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Something that me and Dion was working on early. It was
Mm-hmm.
just something they was doing. Young Chop and all that. You know what I'm saying? But that's what led me to getting over the hump and learning the business and getting to learning what Uzi Vert was. At that same time, I'm pure hip hop. You know, I'm still hip hop.
Yeah.
At that same time, my girl's like, yo, you gotta open up your brain a little bit and realize the type of artists that are out there, bro. Like you just keep going for the super, super hip hop dude, underground, da-da-da.
Yeah.
She was like, change your thought process. You know, I'm being hard-headed.
Yeah.
No, fuck that. This is gonna work, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm telling you, as soon as you do that, you're gonna find something. And that's how Uzi Vert happened.
Bro, what's crazy is I would call it a privilege. I had the privilege of being down here, and I did not see myself living down here, but I had the privilege of being down here when y'all was working on Love is Rage. Mm-hmm. And I remember like when I had Dave East and we were down here working on Hate Me Now, and we was just, what I loved about what y'all had with Mean Streets was it wasn't so much about like, oh, all right, such and such got a budget, let's get them in here to record. It was like, yo, something new is coming through the building, put this shit in here.
Family style.
Yeah, like put it through here and we gonna make stuff happen. And being in there, I remember hearing Super Saiyan for the first time. And I had found out about Uzi because I was working with Maddie and she was working with Diamond Cuts. And I had found out about Uzi probably like a year or two earlier. But when I seen him with y'all, for me being a fan of you, I was like, how the hell is that gonna work? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, how he gonna do beats? Like, this is the person that did Go Crazy. Like, this is the person that did all these Jeezy records. This is the person that worked with T.I. How you gonna do Uzi? But you found like this new space, right? You found this new space creatively. And like you said, you was told to like open up your mind and see what it's about. But then, because even when Love is Rage dropped, I think it was so dope. Like it came out, it hit that piff. We was all, because we had dropped around the same time. We called each other like, yo, we running that piff and all that. But then this nigga turns a corner and it just superstardom. Like superstardom, bro. And this is, now it ain't no Def Jam involved. It ain't no, this artist is managed by this person over here. This is in-house now. Y'all got something to call y'all own. How did y'all look? Because he signed to Atlantic. How did y'all look from the first moment of doing this through y'all joint venture and it being cool to it going like Kaiser, my dog? How's Kaiser and Julie and all them acting now? Like,
it's crazy because when that first thing happened, when I brought it to Lake and Drum, I was like, yo, let's do this. And they wasn't opposed to it, but I was like, yo, I'll do the work. I'm going to mold it. We just got to pull together and do all the other stuff, pull the strings, da-da-da. So when I go back to tell you, when I came back to meet Uzi in the basement in Manioc in his studio, he playing me both things, but he rapping good as shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, yo. He like, bro, listen, I can rap, but I'm about to shock the world with this. He already had a vision for what he wanted to do. He was like, and you know this. You listen to both sides of music, bro. You listen to Maryland. You listen to this. You know where I'm going. So he starts playing me all the other stuff. I'm like, oh, he's like, bro, trust me, bro. I know what I'm doing. And it's Philly. So I'm like, how's a kid from Philly going to win with this? Like, this is kind of crazy. But at the same time, I was fulfilling what I wanted to do. I wanted to find a rapper from Philly,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, first. And I was like, oh, you know the other side? Like, you want to, oh, you, okay, you listen to both things. So when he come to Atlanta, and I realized he was doing stuff that other rappers wouldn't dare to do. Change his hair color, you know what I'm saying? He'd rap, I remember just him beating on the table, beatboxing, and rap 2 hours straight. I'm like, to the point we'd be like, yo, shut the fuck up, bro. You talking too much. He would just keep rapping and rapping. With the South by Southwest, he got bored. He'd start beating on the kitchen table, rapping 2 hours straight. So those are the things that led me to believe that, okay, I got a real rapper that know how to do other shit. You know what I mean? Like, and that was the curveball we was throwing. So I had to really figure out, because before then, the real Uzi mixtape, that was a straight hip hop rap tape. You know what I'm saying? I did that in 2014 early.
Right.
And it was like, we was just rocking out. But when we started turning that corner, it was like, okay, we on some like different, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to be honest, when we first came, it's like, bro, how you gonna break a kid with purple hair? And there was some things rolling out in the world, and a couple people had said this. I ain't saying no names, but it was like, yo, P&B Rock is the biggest star that's ever gonna happen in Philly. Y'all not gonna beat that.
Wow.
And I was like, well, why would you say that? P&B Rock is my man. He's in Mean Streets.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I was just confused to why. And, sometimes people challenge you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we started working. And then, that rang a bell for us to be, like, super competitive with everybody was coming out. Everybody was coming out at the time. So he's like, what we going to do is better. And he like, bro, I'm good. I'm telling you. I got the shit.
telling you, like, yeah.
He's like, give me the beats. I'm going to do the rest.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, but you Dr. Dre this shit. You know how it's supposed to sound. You can mix it right, all that. Trust me, we gonna be good.
Right.
And that's when Lover's Rage happened. You know what I'm saying?
And then Lover's Rage happens. And then records of XO Tour Life and records, and Uzi becomes the superstar. Mm-hmm. But the thing about doing this shit, and I learned, because I've had my own journeys in music, but when you do it, it's always question, could you do it again? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, all right, yo, you won a ring. Like, yeah, you got to the finals, you won a ring, but like, can you win another ring? Can you do it again? Can you lead us to it again? And then Jack Harlow comes into the fold. And I remember the first time, like, I can't remember if it was you or Lake or Drum, which one of y'all posted on IG. But I remember the first time hearing him, it was Dark Knight. And I was like, something different about this white boy, bro. Like, I'm like, by how he rapped, his cadence, his flow, even though he looked like he worked in fucking Geek Squad and Best Buy, I could tell that he really loved rapping. And I remember hitting Lake, and I'm like, yo, bro, who is that? He like, that's our new kid, bro. He about to. And I, like, one thing I could say is, like, I've learned so much being around y'all, and I've learned to trust processes. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna see this one through. But then Jack, talk to me about getting Jack, developing Jack, and then y'all get another superstar.
I'm gonna tell you early, the first time I met him, I didn't like him. Yeah, because the songs they played for me were something that I was like, I don't like. What is this?
Did you feel like Asher Roth again?
No. It felt like, I think the first, and I could be wrong, the first 3 songs I heard he had did was Scheme. And it was in Scheme mode. Scheme was just in that, you know what I mean, in that game. So when I heard the songs, I'm like, he cool. You know what I'm saying? And when he came to meet us, and it was something I saw about him. I was like, oh, he got the same look that Uzi got, bro. These dudes is convicted on what they really want with their life. Like, he said, yo, he had 2 for 1 there. That was the Metro. He's like, I got my own Metro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was talking to us a grown man style. He was young. He was talking to us about his favorite movies and stuff like this. And these movies were different movies. I can't remember what they were. It was like, you're watching that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a young boy. So it was a lot of that going on. A couple more songs, I was like, I started warming up to him, but initially I didn't fuck with it. I was like, You know what I'm saying? So,
fun fact before we go forward, Cannon don't really fuck with nothing. I just want y'all to
so
know
yeah,
that.
so I want to tell that story,
Yeah.
and I want to dispel that because I want to get to the point where the reason why I don't fuck with stuff from the beginning is because I have to go back and do my research. So anybody knows me, the reason I don't fuck with it because I hadn't did my research yet.
Okay.
So I'll go and do my research. I'll make sure I know where you went to high school,
Mhm.
when you started rapping, who your parents are, where you from, where you really from.
Right.
If you can really rap, do you really love this? I'll do all that stuff because we'll go to meetings. Or Lake and Drama tell you. There will be meeting with people. I'll be like, oh, so I saw you went to high school. Oh, you started rapping on the boombox. Oh, you tie your shoes backwards because of that. They be like, yo, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I do that with every artist. I
Right.
knew artist Kai. He was like, bro, he ain't fuck with me at first. Yeah, I wanted to do my research.
Right.
I wanted to see how much you really love this because
Right.
I love it. So if I'm putting my all in it and you giving me half-ass, I can't fuck with it.
Right.
So that's what was happening with Jack. I started seeing that he loved it. But when I heard Dark Knight, I was like, oh yeah, this is
that was
different.
the one that was different. Yeah.
Yeah, it was different. So as we continue to work together and deal with things, it just having me in a room as the OG, I started to understand that he had to grow into something that became Jack Harlow now. His voice hadn't all the way developed yet.
Right.
He was getting his style together. He was
Right.
learning things. He was picking beats. He was learning producers. He's a person that wants to be in there and create from scratch. That was new to me because I was always told, send us some beats.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Uzi really was like the first person. I'm lying. I did circulate, but half the time my sessions were just I sent beats and they hit the marker. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, you didn't send circulating?
I did it in front of
You
him.
just did it. Wow. That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite.
So when I send beats, people just pick them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, cool. I never had to go on a session and make nothing from scratch, really. I was just always, I didn't get into that till the Cool Kids era, Asher and all that. But when I started getting there with Jack, it was more like he had his producers touch up this drum. Switch this. What you think about that? Like really Dr. Dre it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And once he got the Sundown, it was like, oh, he has the potential to make hit records.
Yeah.
We move fast forward to that. He did What's Poppin', which was like really over the hump.
Yeah,
You know
that
what I'm
was.
saying? He already had joints. He had the joint with Chris Brown.
Mm-hmm.
He had a joint with Kid Can.
Mm-hmm.
He had
Bryson.
Bryson.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So when he had that, and then this how I knew it was real. And I never told my guys this. I knew it was real when he dropped What's Poppin' in January, right? Of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
The world was shut down for the whole year. He did not tour, and that shit went 6 times platinum. I said, oh, he's the one.
Isn't it Diamond now?
Yeah. But that first year was like, bro, he didn't get no TV. He
None of that. No syncs, nothing.
Not for the first 6 or 7 months of the year because it was shut down.
Right.
So imagine somebody dropping a song that was infectious like that one, but didn't get a chance to go out and tour.
So what was, now I want to go just a bit into the mindset of like, now y'all done cracked the code, right? Because now, let's just be 100. Like, everybody don't get to see the cars y'all drive. You know what I'm saying? But now y'all are reaching, these destinations that y'all set out early back then. You know what I'm saying? And now y'all have your own thing that y'all are doing, that y'all control, that y'all build. How are y'all now collectively as, you, Drum, Lake, the mindsets from a business standpoint?
The best thing is we know how to stay out of each other's way.
Mm.
That's how you conduct business with friends. I don't like to step on toes. Lake is probably one of the most people that be like, yo, you got that. I'm going to do this. Yeah, that's his favorite shit. Talk to Cannon. You know what I'm saying? He never not going to say, yo, not to go to Drum, go to Cannon. He just do that. So as friends and as brothers, we always going to bicker. We always going to fight. We always going to have side conversations. Me and Lake going to talk about Drum. Me going to talk about Lake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Lake and Drum going to talk about me. And we all going to say, he a sucker. He this. But at the end of the day, we know what it is. We just having those ruts.
Right.
But nothing has been that serious to where we're like, nah, I don't fuck with him. That's my man. I trust him with my life. And the same thing with them. It's more of a trying to keep everybody in mode of each other's expectation. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that, businesses become great businesses because you can say, okay, all our expectations meet each other. That's all we care about. It's like doing it for the block versus the world. It's
right.
Like, hey, we fuck with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we stays fun.
And that's what it all started at for you, right? Because it started with you being on the block. It started with you seeing like all of these great moments of what your neighborhood was building as far as aesthetic, that going into, your mom's love and and pushing you because she wanted to make sure that you did something. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You going through the adversities of dealing with the IRAA and the certifications and y'all potentially facing 20 years for something doing that you love, right?
Yep.
Leading that into building a creative space. Because that's one thing about Mean Street Studios. It's not just artists. It's creatives. I done met producers there, managers, fashion designers, you know what I mean? That was just in there doing whatever they could, and I see them doing big things after that. So it's like y'all became like this hub for creativity to now like y'all are still building this out and y'all got forever to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know
it's sort of like Come Home With Me. It's like it's a home, bro.
Yeah.
Like we've had Wiz, sleep there for weeks, get me some blankets and I'm just gonna stay here.
Yeah.
Like you got your kitchen. You
that bean bag, man.
Yeah, you got the bean bag, you got the kitchen, you got the shower, you got bathroom, you got chefs coming through. Nips. Like,
man.
We used to come there and Nips used to be on the couch, but he would not leave there. It was something about that spot, Mean Streets, that was just like, it was like the fun house for everybody. It was like the frat house, actually.
Yeah.
Everybody come through, we here. It was nothing close to remote not being uncomfortable in that spot.
Wow, bro. I just want to tell you and thank you for being here with me because I'm honored. I'm honored to get these stories. I'm honored to get this perspective. I'm honored to like learn because it's just through this conversation. Not only have I learned so much about you, but I learned so much about having different perspectives about things. And man, thank you for coming to the crib, bro.
Yeah, man, it's the crib, bro.
Yeah,
I gotta
man.
come more often. You know
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. This is Come Home With Me, man. Me, my bro Don Cannon.
Yes, sir.
We out of here.